this time I'll get started. Hello, come on in. Thanks for coming, folks. This isn't about me, this is about you. And this is the 6th in my series of town hall meetings. I think it's really incumbent upon the candidates for the 3rd District to come out here, listen to the people of the 3rd District, and find out what makes you tick and let you get a glimpse inside us, because you have these commercials, you have these 2-minute sound bites, you don't get to know who the real person is. My commitment to you all today is there's no question that you will ask that I won't answer, because this is my job interview. This is, we may agree on 70, 80, 90% of the issues. The issues we don't agree on, you always get the eyeball to eyeball back from me on where I'm coming from, so you can always understand that John Rysavy is actually an easy guy to understand because you know how he's thinking, and I try to think on the right side of my hand and head. But about a year and a half ago, I was watching Fox News, getting upset, yelling at the TV, and we have 6 kids. And that will come up probably, are you pro-life? Well, 6 kids, you can do the math yourselves. But yelling at the TV set, and my wife's looking at me and she's going, hey, it's not going to yell back. And I was a little dismissive. I go, easy, girlfriend. Next thing I know, a pillow hits me on the side of the head. I go, what's this all about? And she goes, either you're part of the solution or you're part of the problem. Put up or shut up. And having the damaged ego, I went downstairs, grabbed an adult beverage, walked upstairs, looked at her, and said, I'm running for Congress. And like only you ladies can do, she rolled her eyes and goes, whatever, here I am. But it came of a frustration that, Dennis Moore was not having town halls. I actually had the ability to go to one of his last town halls. I believe it was his last town hall in Lenexa. Had to sign it. I was number 38 out of number 40. And it was really frustrating for me. I said, Dennis, the Bush tax cuts expire on December 31st, 2010. What are you going to do? And he goes, well, I'm not aware of that. And I got a little perturbed, and I said, how can you not be aware of that? And he said, okay, we're done. You're being rude. And I said, no, hold on. Rewind the tape recorder, talk to one of your handlers. I'm being very professional here. What are you going to do? He said, could you be more explicit? And I said, the 10% bracket expires, goes to 15. The 15 stays where it's at, but the 25 goes to 28, and then we have 36. And now we know with the Obama-Pelosi plan, we have 39.6, and also for those lucky people, 45%. He had no answer. He said he'd look into it. I never heard back from him. So my commitment to you all is that I'm going to be the person that has these town halls. It's my job to make myself available. And so for the next 12 years, which is my self-imposed term limits for you all, I will have a minimum of 3 town halls a month. And as you all know, at the 2010 census, most likely Douglas County will be part of the 2nd District. It'll just be Wyandotte in Johnson County. So literally it'll be 1 in Wyandotte, then 2 in Johnson County every month for the next 12 years. And that's my commitment to you all. Just a couple of the tidbits. I'm a fair tax supporter. I think first and foremost, I want to be up front with that and on board. This is one-stop shopping for limiting the size of government. I've been very proud to be endorsed by Congressman John Linder. He is out of Georgia 7. He's a ranking member of the Committee on the House Ways and Means in Washington, D.C. It was a very serious vetting process. Multiple emails, and not just true-false questionnaires. John, explain to me what the fair tax would do for the United States. These were long essay questions. Congressman Linder is also pro-life. He's pro-Second Amendment. He's also one of the strongest voices we have in Washington, D.C. for securing the border now. And if you go to his website, you'll see if you're a conservative, you're going to line up very closely with him. And I'm not going to apologize for my conservatism, because I think people have a right to know where you're at and how you see the world. But the issues of the day right now as we see them are cap and trade, health care, illegal immigration, taxes and spending. Those aren't left issues. Those aren't right issues. Those are American issues. And I can tell you this right now, from having town halls like this and talking to people, going door to door, the spending is hot on people's minds, and the illegal immigration is hot on people's minds. The government is it's gotten too much in the way of trying to dictate people's ways and lives. Right now, the IRS is 77,000 pages of legislation telling us what to do, how to get a tax credit. I mean, there's people before Congress right now lobbying to say, can I deduct my health insurance from my animals? Sorry, it's called, you need to be self-accountable. That's why I support H.R. 25. It's roughly 150 pages. It's right here. Congressman Linder is a primary author of this. If we were to put out all 77,000 pages of tax legislation, it would fill up several tables here. The problem is, I see it, you and I need to be in charge of picking the winners and losers rather than Washington, D.C. And the fair tax takes the power back from Congress, puts it in my hands. Every year, I mean, people talk about tax abatements and tax incentives. It costs this country $366 billion a year to do our taxes. Where does that money go? It goes to lawyers, accountants, lobbyists. It's time that you and I have 100% of our paycheck. And that way you get to decide who are the winners and losers in that regard. Getting back to the earlier point about the states, the 10th Amendment is my line in the sand. People say, what do you want to do for the state of Kansas when it comes to taxes? I want to shrink Washington enough that Kansas can keep more of its own money. You think about it, right now, 52 cents of every dollar we spend in the state of Kansas goes to education K through 12. Over in Missouri, it's 26 cents on the dollar. It's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. And how we've gotten to this point is the fact that our legislators in Topeka, and there's actually two of them, as you all know, that are running for Congress right now and want to get that promotion. We've gotten this place over the last 8 years by prolific spending and taxation. So when it comes down to it, the 9 to 10 cents we get from Washington, D.C. that comes back to Kansas, we're required to spend approximately 25 cents on the dollar. What we need to do is have courageous legislators in Topeka that say, you know what, keep your 9 to 10 cents on the dollar you're bribing us with. We'll take that out of the 25 cents we have and make things work on that end. The time for Congress to, they have to get out of the earmarks and the special interest groups, and I think the fair tax is a quick way to do that. So I hope I answered your question there.
Tell us what a failure Cash for Clunkers was.
Cash for Clunkers was an act to the government thinking they can spend your money better than you can. This whole stimulus plan of almost $800 billion was, if you remember back to the Nancy Pelosi's and Dennis Moore's words, unemployment would stay below 8%. Does anybody remember where unemployment is right now? Is it hovering around 10%? Did not work. Most of the jobs created were government jobs. We can't deal with the government creating our wealth because the government can't do anything. The only way government creates a dollar is by borrowing from China or another country or by taxing you and I. So to your point, the Cash for Clunkers was a non-starter. Should never have been done. The sad thing is if you listen to
Barney Frank
and Chris Dodd, they don't know what's in it until, it's one of those things like with Nancy Pelosi with the health care bill. We won't know what's in it until actually it gets passed, because you think about these monstrosities, they're passed by the House and the Senate. No one reads these bills. Do you remember how the White House and Nancy Pelosi said we'd have the most ethical and transparent administration in Congress? Well, that isn't happening. We're getting a rush through 72 hours. Well, you can't read these bills in 72 hours. I read the original H.R. 3200 for the health care bill. You have to get the tax code out. It's a very long, I think it's high time that we get more people like the blacksmiths. Blacksmiths are no longer here, but you get my point. Get people that actually run small businesses, that are salespeople, that are doctors, that are nurses. That healthcare bill on the Democratic side, to my knowledge, there was not one healthcare practitioner that got involved with that. And that's what the problem is. My lobbyist in my race to represent you all will be you all. I mean, you think about it, there's a lot of great minds and great expertise every place I go. For example, John Sheldon, who's the past president of the Kansas City Metropolitan Medical Society, when I sat down and earned his endorsement, the question I had for him was, you're in charge, literally of a very big political action committee. Has anyone from the Obama administration talked to you about health care reform? No. So you have the 29th biggest metropolitan unit in the United States. Not one person from the White House contacted them. This was never about health care. This was about a government takeover of medicine. If you want to look at the health care bill, what would help would be actually market-driven forces, such as medical malpractice return. Any physicians in here? Or nurses? You can relate to this too. And this will come down to Miss Stephanie Moore, who's running for Dennis's seat. She works for OBGYN physicians, and she works at Shawnee Mission Medical Center. The problem for these folks is they pay more in malpractice insurance than they do in their federal income tax. Both are too high. That was never addressed. I don't know about you all, but I could not go into work every day thinking about if I make one little mistake, I'm sued and ruined. And it's a travesty right there. It's over $100 billion a year that we spend on medical malpractice reform because the physicians pass that cost on to us.
Payroll taxes and income taxes.